Damn.
VR chat, you can get loud holiday.
For playing a great game, trying his best, and he almost won. 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 And he almost won.
Because we want to do something. Because we want to do something. I know, no, the systems.
Because we want to do something.
I know. Why is it like this? Because we want to do something. I know. Why is it like this? Because we want to do something. Message failed to send. Message failed to send. Message failed to send. Message failed to send. Message failed to send.
I was speaking. Nobody said they could hear me. I was speaking. Nobody said they could hear me. I was speaking. Here we nobody said they could hear me. I was speaking. Folks, we got echoes. Yeah, Izzy's internet went down. Sure. It looks like I'll be doing a lot of stuff tonight. It's fine. Yeah. This is gonna be fun. So did y'all get the names? I put them over inside in Discord to put in the wheel. Yeah. This is this is gonna be fun. This is so much fun. I love my job. The wheel is ready. Okay.
Is it working?
Let me refresh because on my screen the wheel is not. Oh, there you are.
Oh.
Did you have to reset the router?
No, it just came back up.
Okay.
If that happens again, we have my phone as backup. So.
But my phone wouldn't connect even though I was on.
It may have been it.
Sounds about right.
It's fine. It's fine.
And that was the whole reason I wasn't talking, was literally it wasn't detecting my sound. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna mute and sit over here. I'm over here running through the freaking our normal stream checks, and I'm sitting there like, it's like,
Okay. 6 on that screen there where you've got the I know you're shortening that up, but just underneath my ugly mug there's the mute.
Put Izzy in a little box.
But there's a camera off, mic mute, and then there's another one that is mute desktop, or that's what I always, every time y'all see or hear the reverb, it's because I haven't muted the desktop. We want the audio to come through OBS, but not both.
Yeah, I love that. Nobody puts Izzy in a little box.
I'm Schrodinger's cat. Tell him I'm coming for him.
He stuck your ass in a box.
Facts.
They're like, we can't. I love that analogy, and I've and everything like that. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, no, there's an easy way to tell if the cat's alive or it's dead. They're like, why? I'm like, because the cat's gonna be fighting to get the fuck out of the box, unless it's asleep, and then you're gonna hear purring and snoring.
Well, yes, bloody furious. I only get in the box if I want to get in the box. Cats in boxes. I'm sorry. Just don't close it on
Especially
us.
cardboard boxes.
Yes, just don't close it on us.
They can close it on themselves, but you cannot close the cat in the box. Okay.
Okay. Sticks, do you want to put the names in, or do you want me to share my screen? Because I still got that up.
The names are in the wheel and going. Did you hit save? Because the names that we're
Transition.
seeing in the wheel are not the names that we have.
It's a joy watching real time somebody who knows what they're doing recreating what I spent 6 months. I'm like, oh, he knows what he's doing. Let me. Like, did I do this right?
It's funny. I'm like, chat orientation.
No, I also sent Sticks the exported file with all my gibberish in it. So, have fun. Do whatever you want with it.
Okay, well now since you're back, I need to go check on the gremlin because he got quiet. So I will be right back.
Yeah. Yes, quiet gremlin is troublesome gremlin. You're all good, Sticks. We appreciate you. I mean, if it were me trying to do all this jazz, like, we'd cancel the show. Because I have to remember the 6 months worth of tweaking to recreate, because I didn't know what I was doing at all. So, yes, all hail the emotional support Thorin Oakenshield. You realize that just saying emotional support Viking is much quicker. I'm just saying.
Emotional support Viking sounds better anyway.
It does sound better.
That's trademark, but to hold my pen, Promptcast, by the way.
Sticks.
I will turn this car around. Okay,
Fucking heartedly. Don't threaten me with a good time. Whole fucking heartedly. It's like, oh, you're gonna turn this fucking car. Don't threaten me with a good time.
It's good.
Snacks.
It's good, other than the fact that I'm quite blurry, but that tends to happen because of my internet.
You're a little blurry on my end, but not like super blurry. It's not like it's kind of like when you get up and it hasn't refocused yet.
Oh, see, and I'm clear as day on my screen in backstage.
I'm talking about
Okay.
backstage. For me, it looks like you basically like when you stand up and it doesn't refocus right away, and you have to turn it off back on.
I was about to say, is your virtual camera?
I had to turn the performance adjusting thing off.
Oh, now you're clear.
There we go.
Okay. We're fine. Everything's fine. The world's on fire, but it was on fire yesterday, so it's fine.
Yes, emotional support Oakenshield. We could. I don't know. I still like the emotional support Viking because I said it first, and I knew it would. It'd tweak his beard.
It would get his goat, literally.
Girl.
You do. Yeah. Oh, now he's got the wheel over you. It's like, we shouldn't actually be kidding with the person that right now is running our back end.
I mean, fair.
I mean, yeah, fair, but at the same time,
That just means he's part of the crew.
yeah.
Think of how much shit I've gotten.
Tentacles.
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 Now, I
It's
almost have to go to
Talia
Tattoo
who
somewhere.
finally got a night where she could join us,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Friend tattoo.
and it's
It only
precious.
took us 3 decades.
Yeah.
But we needed that defining moment that just encapsulated.
Yep. I think the funny part about all that is not that I'm trying to jinx myself here, but we did skip over me. And now Styx has got the emotional support Viking. So it's kind of funny. It's like, I'm not going to get one. Hey, look, it's fine.
Get one what?
Damn nicknames.
Fearless leader.
Yes, I am the fearless leader. But I'm talking about like the defining thing. Kesh is the tentacles.
Well,
Dahlia
right,
is.
You're the fearless leader. You
You're the-
started it all. That's huge.
Captain, my captain.
You know what's bad when the captain's like, I'm going to turn this ship around. Where are we going? I have no fucking clue, but I'm turning the ship around. Izzy, that camera's not in the right spot. There you go.
I was recreating the scene.
I know, but the camera was pointed at your crotch.
It was very awkwardly pointed at your crotch.
Sorry. But everybody saw what I was doing. I was standing on the chair. I was recreating the Dead Poets Society.
You know, I really need to watch that movie again. It's been forever.
I'm not, showing my age there. But I mean, next Friday.
When you came down off that and your hair fell forward, you did kind of remind me of Sam Elliott for a moment. With the hair in front of your face and then the way you flipped it back. We love Sam Elliott.
The scene from Roadhouse.
Yes, you knew which one I'm talking about.
You know what?
Hey, we appreciate your Band-Aid, emotional support Viking.
Next Friday,
Trying to piss him off.
The same age again.
Yes. Next Friday, Kesh and I will be the same age again. Because I have rather enjoyed.
Okay, spin it. You're going to have to spin it. None of us got control over it.
And then leave it up with the name.
I don't know if it's giving a sound, so it's like.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because I got it muted.
Stavros!
Stavros has been heavily hanging out in the Discord quite a bit lately. And I think we came up with a plan for what she's going to do social media wise. And so hopefully we'll be able to share that at some point because, you got to have content, right? If you're going to do something, you got to have content. And it was an honor having that conversation with Stavros today and helping her develop a thing. Yes, and making plans. Very proud of her. Because that's the thing, right? We're cheerleaders. Okay, I am not getting the outfit again. You cannot pay me $1 million to get in that outfit again. No, Julie, no. Not happening. So not happening.
What if it was a Packers?
Nope, kiss my glow in the dark white ass.
Well, it would be glow in the dark if I got you the yellow pantaloons.
I haven't even drank any alcohol tonight. This is just
No, but
me.
I'm in rare form, so we all know that.
Shit.
I am too sober for all of this shit. Oh, that's actually a line in Hunjin's new song. Anyway,
No. We don't have it. We don't
But by
have
the way, I have made it through 24 hours without 2 of these songs popping up on my playlist. So
un, deux, trois. First, second, and
anyway,
third, fourth wall, we're breaking them all. Any hoozle. Stavros. Okay. I'm going to apologize up front because we have a pronunciation guide and we know how awful Izzy's American tongue is with pronunciations of foreign words. Mira, daughter of Anubis, Egyptian name of Kebeshet, opened the door and stopped in her tracks. Her blood turned to ice as the overwhelming grief filled her veins at the notice waiting in front of her. The magic needed in the days to come simmered through her, so cold that she knew if the Egyptian people around her looked closely enough, it would be visible. She was in her room in one of the pharaoh's palaces called Per Generet, surrounded with finely threaded linen with embroidered beads made as an offering to Mira. Appointed as the king's sister, specifically different from the rest who housed with her, she wasn't a royal wife, nor was she a relative closely tied to the pharaoh. Yet as she walked the halls, the women who also inhabited the palace of Per Generet knew she was unique. The people of Kemet were born with an innate ability to sense their deities. Before their reasoning set in and her people were left with a gnawing suspicion of more, Mira reached out a hand and held the scroll of papyrus presented to her. She didn't need to read it to know what it said. The one role she had been assigned in the pharaoh's palace was funerary rites. If anyone asked, Mira was a high priestess with ties to the pharaoh, a sister who he could never marry. Her role was too important. First, she had to purify her body. She cleansed her body with clean water from the Nile, and then Mira would dress in the colors of gray linen before covering her face and hair in the dust of the earth on the banks of the Nile. Normally, a kite of Nephthys would be hired, but she was a necessary addition that was secretly added. She had been added from the start. But as far as the people that knew, she was a professional lamenter who was always selected. Mira couldn't tell any of those who worshipped without knowing that she was a deity in the flesh. She was fulfilling her duties as daughter of Anubis by attending every funeral burial religiously to maintain the soul's integrity before she had to meet it in the afterlife before judgment. She walked past her table of jewels, each jewel representing something different. Emeralds were for immortality or fertility, malachite for healing, garnet, which sometimes symbolized the extremes of anger and fire, but also could represent victory and life. turquoise for life and happiness, carnelian, purification of the blood, stability and protection, obsidian symbolized death, one Mira secretly selected for herself, and amethyst to denote her royal status among those connected to the pharaoh. It all meant something, but it was to decorate flesh that meant little to her. She had no purpose for holding on to the amethyst diadems, the carnelian armbands, turquoise collar pieces, and more. She would never stay in the field of reeds. Mira would never die. Her purpose was to help those who had died, to give them a place to rest. Mira gestured with her hand, and her snake Nubia slinked out from under her bed. The snake climbed up Mira's body and nuzzled into the crook of her neck for warmth. Many times the people of Kemet mistook Nubia for her deity body, claiming her blessed by the daughter of Anubis. The irony wasn't lost on her. A servant stood near the wall waiting for Mira. She had to immediately start preparing for the funeral she had to attend. But first, she had to visit the sons of Horus. They disguised as priests under the pharaoh's rule. Each made their canopic jars to protect the organ they are tasked to protect. Mira wandered out of the curtain covering the entrance to the little inlet connecting the Nile to her step. She stepped into the water, feeling the refreshing chill revive her tired soul. Sons of Horus, come to me, Mira muttered quietly onto the wind. With a gust displacing the reeds and curtain, they appeared before her. Your canopic jars are needed once more. She held out her hand as Omar, son of Horus, and also called Imseti, gently held her hand, like a man in reverence of his Merib. We shall have the canopic jars prepared, Your Highness. Omar pressed his warm lips against the cool skin of Mira's hand. Dun, dun, dun.
There's a lot of historical accuracy in that, cultural accuracy.
Somebody getting flirty with the with chick.
It's so funny what we all focus on, because I'm focusing on the cultural accuracy. She's focusing on the flirting.
Well, Julie does write a lot of romance.
Yes.
She clocks that shit.
I mean, the whole thing is if it's in there, yeah, I'm gonna say something.
No, absolutely, Stavros. Now, obviously, there's, as a rough draft, right? Some clarity will pop in there, but definitely interesting to see why she's there.
I mean, exactly. It's like, why? It's like, obviously, this is something she was tasked to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Yep, the occasional time skip is pretty necessary just to move things forward. But then, of course, as we also know, sometimes we write out of order, right, Julie? Oh, I'm number one again.
You never stop being number one. That's how that rolls. You never stop being number one. It was just, how far of the 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. It's like,
see, and that's something linear versus nonlinear. There are instances where nonlinear works. And we're not talking flashbacks, right? Bister says he's got one, but I remember Leon's serial killer story. The way it would go back and forth and
we got lost a lot.
Well, it wasn't that I got lost. It was like I'm reading something going, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And then we jump back to a completely different space and time and see what happens. And now you see the little itsy bitsy whatever that suddenly it all makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
And it was really that aspect of it was really well done. It's living rent free in my head.
Yeah.
So, all right, very nice. Looking forward to seeing. And like Kesh said, a lot of historical accuracy that, back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was an Egyptian craze in our area. I don't know about the rest of the world, but everybody started running their mouth about Egyptian shit, and they didn't
Wasn't
know
that about
squat.
the time that they had actually found or got into Tut's tomb?
Maybe.
Tut's tomb was in the 1930s.
But like there was an extra room or something that they had finally located, or it was somebody, and it reignited all of
Oh yeah,
the.
like an Egyptian.
That might have been it too. The Bengals.
Bengals.
Bagels.
It does come and go in waves. I don't know about that. Those other two things, I don't know what you're referring to.
What is it?
Never heard of either one.
What is
I can't keep a straight face. Egyptology mania comes and goes in waves, kind of like Beatlemania and weeaboo stuff. I've never heard of either one of those.
Beatlemania. Beatles.
Beatlemania. You know what the
I,
Beatlemania
I
is?
I don't know what you refer to.
Uh-huh. And I'm Shirley fucking Temple, and I mind you, I have the curls, but I don't look good in a poofy dress.
Girl.
Boop boop be doop.
Girl. You know fucking well what Beatlemania is.
I don't know who these people are. Nope.
Okay.
Ooh, Sticks is spinning.
The spin.
Ace.
Ace.
For the record, y'all, I know exactly what it is. I just refuse to acknowledge that they exist 90% of the time. The only one I care about is Mr. Conductor, okay? That man will always be Mr. Conductor to me. All right. What's Ace got for us today?
I think it's
As
something
soon as it
new.
stops spinning. As soon as it stops spinning.
That's not good. There we go.
Every time I don't know what happened with my Google Chrome, but suddenly every time I go to open a file that is a PDF, it now has to open it in a completely new tab, and it takes 25 seconds to load. It is stupid computer programming. All right, here we go. No, that would require me installing yet another something or other on my computer. Grr, I've got you sneeze breath. Okay, I sounded way too cute to say that, but hey, I was 12. Who am I? My name is Molly Bank, daughter of millionaire and owner of the largest bank in all Creamville, Joseph Bank. He spends hours at the bank watching over people's money. I don't see him much, so he bought me some little figures to keep me busy. I would then slip away into my own little world. Max the Mole, my favorite, crime-fighting superhero, was trapped in the secret building of his arch nemesis, Sneeze Breath the Weasel. His secret building was made entirely of stone with no dirt for poor Max to dig his claws into. You're trapped, Max. I've got you now, snarled Sneeze Breath. Max's fur touched the wall. There was no place for him to go now. 100 rats surrounded the mole, led by their leader. Actually, I only had 4 rat figures, but I always pretended it was more. The rat's rapiers were tickling the mole's fur when his friend, Ski, the eagle, flew in through the large glass window on the far wall. She swooped in, screeching and pecking at the rats that surrounded Max. Molly, I heard my mom call, but I just kept on playing. Caw! Max, are you okay? Caw! Yeah, got everything under control. Max grabbed the sword of Sneeze Breath the weasel and broke it in 2 with his bare claws. Are you having fun, Ski? Caw! Yeah, just a bit hungry. Caw! Molly, your father needs your help out in the field. Hurry up now. Sorry, guys. Gotta go, I said to my toys and left my room. I walked downstairs and hugged my mom. Missed you, Mom. How was work? Now, Molly, don't try to stall by asking about how work was. You know good and well work is work, and it helps keep food on the table until the crops come in. Now, get out there and help your father. Even though she hurried me out the door, I knew she was smiling. So, I'm not the daughter of a millionaire or a rich banker. My father is Joseph Bank, the farmer. During the off-season, Mom goes to work in the town at the general store while Dad gets the crops ready for harvest. I walked out to the field, making sure to walk between the rows of crops and not step on any. I found my dad at the far end, loosening the soil. Hi, Daddy. Need some help with the crops? He stood, wiped the sweat from his brow, and leaned on his hoe handle. He stood a lot taller than me when I was 12. He pushed back my shoulder-length jet black hair, looked into my eyes, and smiled. Later, he said in a gruff voice with a slight chuckle. Right now, I've got a gift for you, little lady. He gestured to a large wooden treasure chest sitting outside the crops on the field. What's in there? The words were out of my mouth before I could help it. I just stood there, staring at it until my dad spoke again. There was only one time I could remember him using the shiny but old wooden chest to give me a gift. That was when he gave me my action figure toys. Go ahead and open it and take a look. I thought about walking up to the treasure chest and slowly open it, but I ran instead and threw open the top. My jaw dropped as I stared down at a beautiful, single-blade, one-handed axe. The handle was a brown leather wrap at the base of a stout steel beam. A silver twist ran up the side of the steel shaft to a golden top spike. On one side of the shaft stuck out a large steel blade. A long steel spike stuck out the other end to balance out the weight. I wrapped my small fingers around the handle and pulled the wonderful weapon from the chest. Although I could lift the axe with one hand, it took both hands for me to swing it. And swing it I did. The only thing that stopped me from swinging was the fence. I'm just glad it wasn't my father. As soon as he finished laughing, he picked up the axe from beside the broken fence and handed it back to me. Now, go clean your axe before you chop down the entire forest, my dear. As I took the axe and looked up at him, tears began to well up in my eyes. I pointed at the fence. He just shook his head and chuckled. Don't worry about the fence. We'll have plenty of time to fix it. I hurried back, eager to show my mom what my dad had given me. The minute she saw it, I knew she wasn't pleased. You be careful with that, she said harshly. You could hurt somebody with that. I frowned at her. Yes, Mother. I then bounded up the stairs to show my new gift to Max. Max didn't say much. He just sat there with his smug look on his face, daring me to find one of his evil villains and slay them with my new axe. I didn't want to ruin my toys, so I just looked around my room till I found a nice spot to hang my weapon of mass destruction. Tee-hee-hee. I was silly back then. The rest of the summer, I spent working with Dad in the fields, getting the crops ready for the harvest. I used my shiny new axe to help chop wood for the fence and stakes for the crops. It was a lot of fun helping my dad, but it was also hard work. It was just days before harvest time when I was out in the field one day with Dad. The crops were unusually tall that year. I just happened to notice some of the crops shaking and pointed it out to Dad. He grabbed his hoe and said, "Stay here, Molly. I'll go check it out." As he got close to the shaking crops, a skinny little goblin jumped from behind them. Dad swung his hoe at the creature, but it was too quick for him. After Dad had taken a few lunges at the goblin, it leapt onto Dad and threatened to stab him with his little dagger. At that point, I rushed in with my axe raised. Just as Dad threw the goblin off him, I swung at him and cut off his left arm. After giving me such a nasty look, the goblin went howling into the nearby woods and vanished from sight. "Are you okay?" I turned to my dad and asked. He smiled. "Don't think he'll be coming around here anymore." "Yes, I'm fine. Good work with that axe. You know, they don't have normal skin. They have thick hides." I nodded. It felt good to hear Dad say that, but deep down inside, I was worried. Where did he come from? "A goblin cave somewhere deep in those woods. That's the only place it could come from." "A goblin cave? In my woods? I could not have that. I vowed that day that I would find that cave and deal with whatever goblin tribe lived within. "Come on, Princess. Let's head back to the house. I'm sure Mom will have supper on the table by now. Let's not keep her waiting." He threw his arm around me and we walked back to the house. I smiled. I was glad to have my daddy next to me. I'm sure he was glad to have me around too. Mom did have supper waiting for us when we got back to the house. She didn't seem at all pleased with the encounter with the goblin. We chose not to tell her where we thought he had come from, and I dare not tell her about my vow to rid that cave of its goblin inhabitants. I went to bed that night dreaming of finding that cave and fighting the hundreds of goblins that lived there. Days passed, and the harvest turned out to be one of the biggest our little farm had ever seen. No wonder the goblins were after the crops. Dad earned enough that season to put me through 3 years of what he called proper schooling. It was very important to him. I learned about history, science, math, health, self-defense, home life, and many other interesting subjects. But the subject my dad wanted me to focus on was personal finance, how to manage money. He said that it would not only help me, but that one day I would help others with their money. I could see clearly that Dad had really wanted to own a bank, just as I had fantasized. Over the next 3 years, I grew like a weed. Mom was buying me new outfits every month. It was crazy. I grew almost as tall as Dad. Every day I was with my dad, working in the field with the crops. I got quite good at it. I even got strong enough to swing my axe with just one hand. Dad and I worked on a shoulder sling for my axe. I wore it over one shoulder and around my back. It had a spot for the handle and an iron hook, which allowed me to wear the axe on my back. It was great. During the month or two that we didn't work on the crops, I was helping my mom at the general store, learning how commercial finances worked. Let me tell you, it was confusing. When I turned 16, Dad took me to the Creamville Bank to open my first bank account. I had been in there before with my mom, but this was the first time I really noticed how big it was. There were long steps outside underneath tall marble columns. The words Creamville Bank had been carved in large letters into the stone floor at the top of the steps. Dad saw me looking at the floor. "Your great-grandfather carved those words," he said to me. Wow, I had no idea. "Our family has always worked with banks in some way," Dad continued. "That's how we got our name of bank." "Why didn't you end up working at the bank?" "Well, when I was your age, I had dreams of working at a bank. Your grandfather worked at the Dairy Bank. I was about to start work here when the Depression hit. I had already fallen in love with your mom, so my dreams turned into a desire to support a family. I felt that the best way to do that would be through farming. As much as I dreamed of working at a bank, I also dreamed of growing my own crops." "It looks like you accomplished one of your dreams." "Yes, sweetheart, it appears that I did. I had you." We both laughed. "Actually, we would have been just fine if I had become a banker. It was your grandfather and some of his business associates who figured out how to dig us out of the Depression 2 years later." So that was Grandpa that I read about in history class? The very same. Dad opened the door for me. Now come on, let's get you your first bank account opened up. The inside of the bank was larger than what I thought by looking at it from the outside. Almost everything was made of wood, the same type of wood. There were bright red velvet ropes everywhere guiding people around. Joe, hey, over here. The voice came from the far end of the place. I looked over at where the voice was coming from and saw an elderly man waving at us. Dad picked up his pace and hurried over to the far counter. He did not like yelling. Harvey, you old windbag, you still work here? Work here? I own the place. You know, I've still got that job opening that you turned down so many years ago. Let's talk about that. Sure, let's step into my office. He led us around the counter and into his office, which was decorated with the same wood as the main area. At 12, nothing stood out as spectacular, but at 16, I noticed everything. There were framed achievement awards hanging on the wall, a plant in the corner, a bookshelf full of books, and a desk with a stone tablet, some quill pens, and some parchment. He took a seat behind his desk, and we took a seat in 2 leather armchairs. Harvey, this is my daughter Molly. She is the reason for me coming in today. I was hoping you could give her the same chance to work here that you gave to me. After what you just said, things look hopeful. He looked over at me and thought for a few minutes. Well, Molly, you've got quite a father here. I'm not sure anyone can beat the talent I've seen in him. Tell me, what kind of schooling do you have? That didn't sound good. I began to get nervous, but I played along. Dad had a reason for what he was doing. I have 3 years of schooling with a focus in financial operations. Fascinating. Good schooling is a good start. Your dad had family on his side, with his father having already worked here. Looks like you not only have family on your side as well, you have some schooling for me to look at. He turned to Dad. Joe, do you have any paperwork for me to see on Molly's schooling? As a matter of fact, I do. He opened his briefcase and pulled out some transcripts from my school. He looked them over, frowned, and shook his head. I was about to cry when he started laughing. Joe, it looks like you were destined to be a farmer, and she was destined to be a banker. Too late, Harvey. She's already a farmer. Dun dun dun.
Wait, did he just punk the bank guy?
I don't know, but I feel like I'm being punked.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have so many questions. So many questions.
Mm-hmm.
Any bahoozle.
The only thing that I noticed is that it appears to be a narrative written later in life. But the narrative at the beginning, where it's I, sounds like a 12-year-old rather than whatever age Molly is at that time. And then when she got to be 16, the narrative of her talking I this, I that sounds more like 16. But if
Right.
it's being written from like she's older now, then all the narrative that's not dialogue should be in and more adult language. And then the dialogue be all kitty and 12-year-old, 16-year-old. But other than that, like, yeah, goblins got mentioned and then 4 years pass. What?
Yeah.
What?
The goblins go?
Where'd the goblins go?
Okay. So, now it's time to spin.
Oh boy.
It's pre-green cots. Okay. We're gonna make it to Trisha? No. Gonna stay on Sam Weller.
Woo!
Just squeak that one out.
and Bitzer was quite proud of themselves this week. Got right up to the word count limit. When you have metal on the tip of your belt and you have a magnet on your watch,
Yeah.
wardrobe malfunctions happen. Thank God my name's not Janet Jackson. Yes, I went there. My phone's having issues over here. It's fine. It's fine. No, it is not fine. It's flying all over the place. All right. Looks like we get more zinnia. Let's see how good my stutter is tonight. There was a map of Ambany, though the scholar who had given it to her said it was a little out of date. The streets were clearly named on it, but the buildings were only represented by squares. Zinnia had trouble with it, of course, since the street names were the only way she had to find anything. The city, to Zinnia, was chaos. Yes, the stores were in permanent places, but they were all over the place. If she didn't have Void to guide her back to the university, she feared she might be wandering the streets forever. At least she'd broken in her new leather shoes. Her other problem was getting the folks of Ambany to understand her. Most of the time, they stared up at Void and didn't seem to hear a word she said. The rest of them either didn't understand her country accent or thought she was talking about something else. Her day off from work was looking to be very long indeed, and all she was doing was looking for her knitting needles and yarn. The university kept her supplied with ingredients for her hearth and tools to cook in, and an occasional student watching how she did things in the country fashion. The university cooked for these students and a vast majority of the teachers and staff. There was a laundry service, too. A laundry? Laundry service, too, which also stunned Zinnia. Hardly any student or professor did things for themselves. Zinnia found one of the city guards boggling at Void as it trailed behind her. She had to politely tap his upper arm just to get his attention. "I'm looking for a place that sells yarn," she sing-songed. "Knitting wool?" At his blank stare, she added, "Craft supplies." She'd been at this for 3 hours so far, with one stop for Yarrow's snack and 2 to change her tail clout. "For hobbies?" Recognition flickered in the guard's eyes. "Oh, there's some in Maddows, Springwell Street, 3rd Street on the right, heading that way." She did find Maddows' store, but inside was a trove of toys. The hobbies she asked for led her to a collection of horse heads on poles, some with wheels on the other end and some without. They weren't real heads, in the sense that someone did taxidermy on a set of unlucky foals. They were made. Zinnia was still staring agog at the smiles on some of the heads when one of the smartly dressed shopkeepers approached. "Can I help you, ma'am?" "Remember to sing it," she told herself. "I was looking for something to knit with, not these skin horse heads." "The hobby horses? Oh, they don't have skins, ma'am," said the shopkeep. "Only some of these have tanned hides." I still haven't found what I'm looking for, she sang. Doesn't anyone know about knitting? At yet another blank stare, she added, Needles and thread? You mean hand making? Said the shopkeep. Like embroidery? Well, that was more of a lead than she'd ever had so far. Not quite, she chirped, but that's the closest so far. You'll want Hargrave's by Loomy Avenue. They have lots of stuff like that. Hardly anyone does that stuff anymore, so it's out of the way. Do you have a map? Zinnia got hers out of her purse and found the street she was on. I came from the university, she said. Gosh, that is a long way to walk, noted the shopkeep, unaware that Zinnia had come there by a much longer path. From here, she turned the map about in her hands. Ah, downhill, past 3 streets, then turn right until the crest of the hill, then along Oak Boulevard until you pass the old clock tower. Her finger pointed at a particular square with a circle inside it. Then pass 2 more streets and look out for a little alley on your left. It's down that alley and should be on your right. I'm told it's a tight little shop, so you might have to leave your perambulator outside. She looked up at Void and added, and your, friend, too. Yarrow was growing blinky all the way there and fell asleep sucking on her poppet's foot before Zinnia found Oak Boulevard. The weather hood of the perambulator kept the sun out of her eyes as Zinnia made her way to each landmark. Finally, down the alley not outlined on her map, she found Hargrave's. The alley met a wider road at its other end, the Loomy Avenue that had been spoken of. She left Yarrow outside with Void guarding her and ventured within. Zinnia felt almost at home inside Hargrave's, with its close shelves and tight lanes. Every spare space was filled with something related to handcrafts, not just embroidery. She recognized tatting bobbins, small loom frames, sewing kits, and found a rainbow of yarn balls in a poky little corner with an assortment of knitting needles, neighboring a collection of wires and beads that, again, had price tags that made Zinnia weak in the knees. She found the needles that suited her purpose, metal ones, not polished wood. Then she picked a semi-fashionable pink. Enough for winter hats and socks. Finally, something to do while her hosts of scholars took down notes on her reading, or while they insisted on taking her inscriptions away while she was in the middle of writing them. Void couldn't hold off enthusiastic students. It was outnumbered. And to make matters worse, they would only let her have ink and paper. They were oddly protective of their chalkboards and the chalk. Those were tools of the professors, not mere research assistants, and would give her something to fill the enormous purse with when she wasn't taking Yarrow very far. Mr. Hargrave was very pleased to have himself another regular customer and journeyed outside to coo at the slumbering Yarrow, then boggle at Void. He said, I can get some mattress ticking that would look like a suit on that. Would you like to rent a sewing machine? They had machines for that? Zinnia lost her new habit of singing at the thought. I didn't know there was such a thing. Mr. Hargrave showed her a picture. It looked baffling. But she was assured it came with a manual of instructions, and those new to them got the hang of it in short order. He also attempted to lure her into buying a sewing kit, but she was happy to only have the yarn and needles. Zinnia did promise to return for more supplies and gained a bag to carry her purchases in. Void carried that for her all the way back to the university, where Mr. Trant was waiting by the gate. He'd been standing on his tiptoes and only returning to his heels when he saw her wave. It was so strange to see the tension drain out of him as she approached. She was so used to seeing her errand building up to the lot of anger, even when she had only been to the stream to do the washing. Then again, everything from the city was so very much not like Cairncliffe. That included Mr. Trant. His smile opened up as she drew near. He waited for her to enter the gates before he fell into step by her side and asked, I take it you found what you were looking for? Oh, yes, she breathed in a sing-song. It was a long walk, all the same, for such a small thing. You city folk don't make anything for yourselves. Guilty as charged, he laughed. Academic life is devoted to study and developing more things for others to study. In unriddling the workings of the world and discovering new outcomes, we academics tend to forget everything else. I noticed, said Zinnia. She remembered to sing. I had to make you eat when you were excited about the freezes. That excitement's infectious in the antiquities department. Messages have reached other universities. I have been charged to warn you that a great number of academics are on their way to study void. Many more want to learn. I have been charged to warn you that a great number of academics are on their way to bring you all of their artifacts for translation. Many want to study void. Many more want to learn the old words from you. He truly looked worried when he added, You're going to be immensely popular, Mrs. Balvin. At least academics didn't tut and sniff at her choice of clothes, her countryside accent, or her stammer. The only other place she didn't get such judgment was Hargrave's. Zinnia got the feeling that void was the only thing preventing those judging her from acting more violently than that. I caught sight of a tortitude. I don't know about being popular, she crooned as she drove Yarrow's perambulator to her flat. They're going to run out of use for me, and I'm not fast enough. Ah, yes, my contemporaries and their atrocious manners. They shouldn't be snatching your work from you to argue about their pet theories. I have brought that up with Professor Meister, and we may have a different method. That sounded like a pretty bow around some kind of trouble. You reckon I won't like it, she said. Well, I'm not certain. The method being that you teach me. She reached her apartment and fumbled for her key in the depths of her purse. Yarrow murmured and moved in her sleep, but didn't threaten to wake. That doesn't sound so terrible. The second part of that method is that I end up giving the lectures, since I can. It's your knowledge, Mrs. Balvin. I tried to tell Professor Meister that it should be you lecturing, but he sighed, then waited for Zinnia to enter her flat. He remained outside while she put away the purse, gingerly transferred Yarrow to her crib, and put away her prize. Zinnia only noticed when she settled into her chair and saw him still outside. Some rule she didn't understand held him where he was, still as a statue, yet still breathing. She sing-songed, You might as well come inside and tell the rest of it. I suppose Void is more than an adequate chaperone, he murmured. He's worried about her reputation and propriety. Oh, that is so sweet.
You know.
Mr. Trant trembled as he set foot inside. He kept his hands behind his back, standing like the young men at the university stood before their professors for their tests. It's only sons who attend university and gather degrees. Specifically, fourth sons. Barring accidents, the first son inherits from his father. The second goes to defend and protect the nation. Third sons enlist at the temples, and I'm the fourth, a scholar. As for the ladies, their only hope is to marry well and support their husband in the home. That don't stop them reading, Ian noted. She took a breath and sang. The ones who should know better are learning for themselves. They're teaching each other and doing some jobs as well as the menfolk. Honestly, I'm waiting for one to enter a university under the guise of a brother. Mr. Trant glanced to the door. If they're anything like you, I'm sure they'll excel in their studies. Yarrow woke up, complaining about another soiled tailclout. Zinnia hurried to see to her comfort and cleanliness and found that Mr. Trant had bolted to the other side of her threshold, there to stare fixedly at the edge of the landing above. That was the footpath for Zinnia's upstairs neighbors. More rules she didn't know. Zinnia would have to venture into the library and... Wait, why didn't she ask for a guide? Mr. Trant doubtlessly knew the library as well as any librarian. As she helped Yarrow with her sippy cup, Zinnia said, Mr. Trant, can anyone use your library? He glanced back to make sure all were decent. Anyone affiliated with the university can use it. What did you have in mind? Singing was easier if she kept Yarrow in her line of sight. I want to know the rules. There's so much I need to learn, and the rules feel like a good start. I don't want to cause more ruckus and all. Well, I can show you where they keep such studies. Most of the social rules don't change, only the modern phraseology does. We can begin with the etiquette at least. I can lead you right to the sociology section. The university had staff with children, and there was an apartment that a professor's widow ran as a sort of nursery. The university looked after its own in its own way. Zinnia made Yarrow giggle under a hail of kisses before she set her down among 7 other small children who welcomed her with curious stares. It still made Zinnia anxious to leave Yarrow behind like that, but Mrs. Weaver was good, kind, and encouraging. Besides, the librarians frowned upon noise in general, and Yarrow's noises in particular. The library was an immense maze of shelves, staircases, and nooks, with respectable display cases for certain objects. Zinnia wondered if the tablets she'd first read had been set the right way up yet. Now was not the day to check, and she didn't know the way. Void gained a trail of curious younger students, as it always did. Some of those enterprising teens had notebooks, and one had a tape measure. Their purpose was unclear, and their whispering incomprehensible to Zinnia's ears. She didn't make a fuss about it. They weren't harming anyone. They might annoy some librarians, but some librarians seemed to have been born annoyed. Facts. Facts. Sociology, announced Mr. Trant. Let's see. Social rules. Gentleman's guide, gentle. Oh dear. Mrs. Belvin, you have helped me discover an avenue of research that our library is missing. There is nothing here written for the ladies. Though, as I recall, the Gentleman's Guide to Kindly Courtship has sections regarding the ladies' expectations. Published 2 centuries ago. A nearby librarian shushed him. This will clearly not do, he harumphed. I'll have to take this up with the administration. Meanwhile, is there anything else you wish to research, Mrs. Belvin? I would like to know the university rules, she crooned, and the laws of the city, if you please. Blood rushed to his cheeks, but he was smiling, so she didn't feel the need to flinch. It will be my pleasure, he said, offering his elbow. Some of the younger students cooed mockingly, as if her accepting his elbow was something approaching a scandal. They were immediately chastened by the librarian clearing his throat meaningfully at them. Zinnia held her lips tight against a chuckle and felt some blood rushing to her face in turn. This wasn't anything scandalous. Mr. Trant was being civil and kind, making sure she didn't trip or tumble, as was proper. And she was accepting his kindness as a friend. Nothing to gossip about, though she was certain some would try to anyway. Let them. She didn't care what they thought. That realization snapped her head up from her perpetual gaze at the floor.
Where's the rest of it?
Where's the rest of it? Bitzer finally got to the word limit and had to stop right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Mr. Trent, so precious. I want
He's a cinnamon roll.
I want to pinch his
Now,
little
I will say,
cheeks.
when Mr. Trent originally came into the story, I wasn't that impressed by his character. I really wasn't. He seemed very pompous. And now we're actually seeing the fact that he's not pompous. He is the fourth son. He has been brought up to be this scholar, to be the like obtuse, slight, for lack of a better way, or lack of a better word.
Less socialized, although he does have the rules and he knows how to get along and everything else. But it just basically looks like he hasn't really had a lot of interactions with women because he's at the university surrounded by men all the time. And
Right,
and
and then those women that he is surrounded by is his sister
oh yeah, that
or his
sister-in-law.
sister-in-law.
Yeah, that sister-in-law that I don't know how I feel about her yet.
Yeah, he's a nerd. That's it. He's a nerd.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
All
I was really
right.
glad that Void wasn't a lot of Void wasn't in that one.
Sticks. He said she has a rather large battery-operated boyfriend Mr. T has to compete with.
Well, technically, he's not wrong in the sense that I think Void, if he felt that Xenia was being attacked, would do something about it.
She's totally missing the.
No.
No, I didn't. I know I didn't.
No, she's not
going
missing
the other
it.
way with that.
Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah,
Trying
this
to-
is yeah. No, I'm not.
Trying to deflect and make it a logical thing. She's pulling a Izzy.
Yes, I get
Pulling
that now.
pulling an Izzy.
I mean,
Quit it.
somebody's got to.
Okay, look, I may have lost all reason over Stray Kids, but I still have a logic brain and I still worship the logic trinity of Sherlock, Spock, and Bruce.
Banner?
Wayne. I'm a DC girl, not a Marvel girl, although I do like Marvel as well, okay? I'm just saying. But DC.
That's right, Wonder Woman.
I mean, Lex is just very, very lucky that I didn't name him Grayson Drake.
Yeah. I mean, that was in the running, from what I remember.
When I was 16.
I mean, honestly, I was looking for a guy with the last name of D when I went because in my head I wanted my kids' initials to be LSD. I don't know why.
God,
So it's gonna
psycho.
be Lestat Samuel.
What?
I did come up with that when I was 15, and the first time I ever partaked in the green leaf.
She was a worse teenager to her future son than I was. Lestat.
I mean, Lestat.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, Styx has already spun the wheel. He's down there keeping us on task. So we've got Wilhelm. Ruffy.
Now what am I missing?
Please hold. Saying that out loud. It can be over there on the side in the chat for people to read with their inside voices. Okay.
Real quick, that mic mute did not count.
Yes, that mic mute did not count. I was just simply relaying what Kesh cannot see because she's sitting back here making friendship bracelets. Look, our friendship is longer than our mental age.
I mean, I'm dressed like I'm in high school again.
That's what I've been doing all week. Okay, here we go. We are back to our historical alternative fiction with the spider goddess cult. I have never in my life been this fucking excited about spiders ever. Ever.
Honestly, I'm just hoping that we get some more answers about the frickin' merman.
I know, right? That too.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah,
I've been
that's
waiting
right.
on all week. So it's like,
Yeah. Okay, so without further ado, a church bell rang as Robert opened the door, stopping in his tracks on the threshold. His blood turned to ice, rage filling his veins anew at what he saw in front of him. There, bound and gagged by the altar, was a kraut. His face and clothes were bloodied, a skull on his stupid spiked helmet telling all the world he was the villain. Do not take it personally. Do not take it personally. Do not take it personally. They were bad people. Your ancestors, people were bad people. Just do not take it personally. Sorry, it's okay.
Not your ancestors.
No, I had an ancestor who is on the wrong side of World War II. But it was the epaulets which lit Robert's anger into a conflagration, the insignia of a chemical officer. Robert's rage simmered around him, so bright that he thought it must be visible to the inhuman beast in front of him. He marched up to the bastard and kicked him in the side, the man groaning as his spiked helmet rolled a few paces away to click on a wine bottle. Leave him be, Jean said distantly in those French-colored syllables he used. He'll be in hell before tomorrow morning, if all goes well. I think this whole thing is crazy, Robert muttered, glancing down the empty pews. Empty except for Jean Lebel's smallpox-scarred countenance. He lifted his one remaining eye and fixed it on Robert, muttering, Philip, Pierre, Thomas, Hector. If you had lost 4 brothers to these beasts, you would understand. I lost plenty of friends, but the war is over. It will never be over. Not for you or for any of us. Jean pushed himself from the pew, taking out a string of rosaries. He wavered, then stuffed them back in his pocket, marching down the aisle to where Robert stood. Not until we finish it. The bell fell silent, the German whimpering as he slouched over. With a sigh, Robert reached down and helped lift the man, muttering, If a human sacrifice will put your mind at ease, this guy isn't a bad candidate. This is more than sacrifice. The Allemand came here to hunt us. We shall return the favor and revive the wild hunt to tear them down. The dogs of Charlemagne and his spectral horsemen shall ride through their ranks, and not one shall live to lift his hand against the fair fields of France again. This is not in. Vive la France! Sorry, I had to. The last word rang through the chamber, Jean's voice having lifted with each syllable. He coughed, a glimmer of shame in his eye. Robert spoke, saying, It's not too late to call this all off. I can tell the ambulance driver. No, Jean cried. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. No, I must see this through. If it is madness, as you say, then... He looked down at the chemical warfare man, all mercy fleeing from his face. Nothing of value will have been lost, and we shall both of us repent before a priest. The man squirmed as Jean looked at the altar. It had been ruined by artillery, the whole wall partly caved in. Jean nodded to the space where the cross would have been, taking out his rosaries and tossing them into the space. Then he helped Robert lift the German from the ground and carried him out to the waiting ambulance. David was waiting in the back. while Henry had the wheel, both looking bleakly upon Robert and Jean as they loaded the bound man into the way. Jean put on that iron-cold face as he said, "I thought you Americans were a speedy people. Go, get us driving." Henry nodded, turning on the engine and pulling out onto the rutted road. Silence filled the rear as David, Jean, and Robert held onto handles to stay upright. Robert and David tried to look at anything other than the man they were planning to murder, while Jean couldn't look anywhere else. That was until they drove through an intersection flanked by towering hedges and cut off a farmer who began to shout at them. Jean leaping to the opening into the cab and seizing Henry's shoulder. "Damn you! What did I say before we set out?" "Geez, sorry. I didn't even see that guy until he was coming out from around that hedge." "Stop and listen to him before you ruin everything." Henry slammed the brakes, jolting everyone, as Jean ran to the back of the ambulance and threw open the doors. "Monsieur, my apologies. You must forgive my American friends. They are always in a hurry." "Well, I can forgive that," the farmer said, shaking his head. Robert watched as the man's eyes seemed to glaze over, his body growing still. In a voice which seemed alien and distant, he said, "You will need to go 4 3/4 Roman miles further." "Thank you, monsieur," Jean said. "Thank me for what?" the farmer uttered, rubbing his eyes as he frowned in confusion. Jean said nothing more, instead closing the back doors and shouting, "The magic is in the air. Drive, my friend Henry. Drive to destiny." Sorry. That's not motherfucking ominous. What the drive to destiny? Robert shuddered, feeling a pain where Kraut shrapnel had so recently tried to end his life. He glanced at the German on the stretcher, his mind flipping between sympathy for a fellow wounded soldier and utter hatred of a beast who had killed his friends worse than a butcher slaughtering pigs. All the while, a thrill of magic filled the air as Henry slowed for every passerby, each one without fail giving them directions in a trance-like voice. Gradually, the green French countryside gave way to a deep forest, the trees closing overhead as the last passerby stopped to give them directions. For the longest time afterwards, no one spoke, the wild countryside rolling by. Their destination appeared quite suddenly, a small medieval chapel. It was marked on no map, nor could anyone find it without the proper rites. Yet 3 men stood by the entrance, wearing loose, hooded robes over their blue uniforms. One held a lantern aloft, coughing into his hand as they stepped out of the ambulance. "Have you brought him?" The man muttered. "We have, Father Gaston," Jean said, helping to lift the German from the ambulance. "Please, my friend, I dabbled in the Rosicrucian mysteries, not devoted myself to the church in Rome." "Then Gaston it is." "These Americans," Gaston said warily. "They can be trusted," Jean said confidently. With that, they were committed, carrying their sacrifice into the chapel and down a rickety set of stairs into the mausoleum below. Here, in the niches, warriors from all ages of France slept in eternal rest. At the end of the vaulted corridor was a stone altar before the image of Charlemagne. It was not one which would prove popular in the world, which had come into being in the 1,000 years since its creation, for it depicted Karl Magnus at the head of the wild hunt in place of Odin or the more ancient horned king. One Charlemagne was laid to rest as a Christian icon in Asian, Gaston intoned, coughing into his handkerchief. The other rose here as a new pagan deity to ease the country folk into the ways of the church. He began hacking again, spitting blood on the floor. Jean took the lead, speaking, "And so now we come, 7 good men, to offer a murderer upon Charles' altar, that he might slay the murderers of France." Gaston nodded, taking out a ceremonial dagger. After taking a breath, he plunged it into the bound man, a groan of pain echoing through the chamber as he drew out the crimson blade. He handed it to Jean, who stabbed right through the man's chemical core epaulets. Then it was handed to Robert. He took a deep, steadying breath, hand shaking, before he closed his eyes and drove the dagger into the man. A shriek and cackle echoed through the air, an electric jolt shooting up his arm. A wind began to blow, Gaston wailing, "No, this is wrong, the book!" The visage of Charlemagne broke free from the fresco with a sound like artillery fire and charged, slashing through Gaston's throat. His dogs pounced upon Jean, the man wailing as he was ripped asunder. Robert didn't remember starting to run. He only knew that he was suddenly racing down the corridor with David and one of the robed Frenchmen as the sounds of hell rang behind them. How did it fail? The robed man moaned before a spectral hunter raced him down, piercing him with a spear. Because, Robert said distantly, for he could only know this looking back, I'm not a proper man at all. Visions of that chapel he had fled had merged with the one near Amiens, which had exploded under Kraut artillery fire. Visions of David and Henry and Jean perishing by the wild hunt, with those of Will and Oliver falling in the trenches. Visions which led him back to a table in a basement, men chanting around him as he struggled against bindings and blinding pain shot through his body. Robert whimpered, his voice reverberating through the deep as he tried to remember how he'd gotten there, how he'd wound up there after fleeing from home, what they had done to him. But after the clear vision of Charlemagne's wild hunt, the world became a blur. I want off this damn ride already. No, you don't, Robert, came Sarah's exasperated voice. She drifted into view, the moonlight shining off her silvery scales as her tired eyes stared into his. Robert shuddered, trying not to move or look at himself as he muttered, "Who turned me into a monster?" "No one turned you into a monster," Jack said, swimming up behind him and forcing Robert to whip his head around. "But someone did make sure you'd not turn back into your natural form with some sort of curse." Robert rubbed his head, feeling a headache throbbing behind his temples as the current pulled on him. Just what is going on? You're the detective, Sarah smirked. You tell us. The children of Providence, Robert uttered, trying to think about something, anything else. Jack, did you overhear anything? Get an explanation of what they were doing with you? Not really, no, he replied. They bound me up and took me out here. Someone in a hood has been coming in every day or two to put some food down my throat and keep me from drying out, but I ain't heard anything from him. Robert nodded, the sensation odd with the resistance of the water to the motion. His mind began to wander again, seeking memories of other times he had swam in the sea or river, as he was now, though nothing came to him. He rubbed the spot in his shoulder and sighed where the amulets had been buried in his flesh, muttering, Damn it all. Let's get him to the Fallerans, Jack said. No, we should return to the car before that spider monster and whoever brought her has their way with it. That's already happened and you know it. We don't know that, Sarah snarled. And there are important pieces of this mystery inside there. Oh, you were stupid enough. Shut up, both of you, Robert snapped, glaring at each sibling in turn. Now, what's out at the Fallerans? A library, which I assumed you'd never be without a diving helmet, Sarah replied. But now that you have gills and that scaly hide, you should have no trouble entering there with us. I hate doing library research for cases, Robert muttered. We all have to make sacrifices. Sarah took his hand. Now come on, you've a lot of skin in the game now. Like you said, I don't have skin anymore. I have a scaly hide. Ha ha, Jack muttered, taking his other hand and giving him a tug. Follow us, Rob. Don't call me that. Sorry, Robert. The two swished their tails, dragging Robert through the ocean tide. All the while, he tried to make sense of his life, of what had come before and what could possibly lie ahead. With clouds covering the stars and the seafloor far below, he felt as though he were immersed in an eternal abyss, dark in every direction, without beginning and without end. Dun dun dun.
I am not liking this $2,500 2,500 word limit because like people are dropping it in some spots.
They're just whetting our appetite.
Yeah, I know.
God, the way Death's Head is weaving all of these little things in, and the lore, and the historical context, and I can't wait for this to be an actual book.
Yes, but I have a problem. Because I got lost there and then had to realize where the hell I was at. But
Well,
help
to be
Little Mermaid, sort of.
To be fair, though, had this been read immediately following, like, you've had a week and you've slept since then. Not well, but you've slept. So that adds an additional thing to it. But he was fading in and out, and there were all of these flashes, and what he's seeing, like actually physically seeing, is constantly, as he's going through this trauma, interposed with his memories of being on the battlefield and all the shit that he got into in Europe. So it would have made sense had you read it in order, or, back to back. But
Well, see, the last counts I had, they were going into the water, and he was trying to figure out how he was not going to, drown. Artemis, oh. There may or may not be a hanky warning. I don't know.
I was told that this was written in such a fashion that it might break me.
So there is a hanky warning.
Hanky warning. Get them out. No. It's fine, Sticks. We tend to not switch to the next one until we are actually discussing that one. That way, the discussion and the name are on the screen. I started doing that recently. We're just all learning and adjusting, and we're flexible. I mean, my ankles can't go behind my ears anymore, but we're trying to be flexible in other ways.
For real.
Don't give me that look, Julie. You know I'm unhinged.
Known. I mean, let's face it. I do know who you procreated with at least once. So
you didn't have his name coming back into your sphere of anything on your bingo card that year.
I did not. I also did not have long lost buddy. That took 2 years to figure out long lost buddy.
1 year.
Okay. I was gonna go about 1.5 years, but yeah, it did about that.
Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
If y'all are ready, make sure you have those hankies. Coordinates of a place, not home. They keep giving me directions to a place that doesn't exist, and I keep writing them down like gospel, like relief has an address I somehow missed. Take the road where your conscience grew smaller. Get past the night you were made to feel like a bother, with all the things you expected to deserve, and let go of the ones you swore struck a nerve. Drive straight through every unanswered call, ignored texts, and make a wish that some meaningless crystal until the sound of silence feels like nothing at all. They say it is like a system, like sorrow obeys a grid, like there's a pin you can drop on the exact moment you lost what you had when you did. And I follow. God, I follow. Through avenues named almost and alleyways echoing swallow your pride. Through intersections where every version of me stands still while every version of you walks by. Tell me, how is it fair that I can map every inch of you? But if I asked for directions on how to find me, you wouldn't have a clue. My lips used to turn up in a smile, but now I have a perpetual frown. Don't tell me it's healing. Don't call it a stage. Don't tell me not to drown in metaphors that soften the blow. Don't wipe off the face paint just to make it palatable now. Don't dress it down. This is not peace, not grace, not some gentle, enlightened release. This is slow suffocation and fire. This is love rotting quietly, a tribute carved from sanity's flesh for an altarpiece. This is the theft of something I did not consent to lose, and the worst part, no one to accuse, because you didn't slam the door. You didn't shatter the glass. You didn't even have the decency to make the ending loud enough to last. You just left. Not your body, no, that would have been clean. That would have been clear. That would have given me something real, something sharp enough to fear. Instead, you left in fragments, in breadcrumbs and fractions, chasing fatigue down with bottles of distractions. You stayed just long enough to keep me hoping, just enough to keep me ensnared. So tell me, how is it fair that I grieved something that wasn't even there? How is it fair that I buried us while you were still inside, eating away at a soul you once claimed to love, now deny and deride? Because while you were dead and starving to live, I was still alive, and I had something more to give. They said I'd arrive eventually, said I'd reach that place where it all makes sense, where I'd finally be free, but every step forward just carved something out of me. Not violently, no, that would have been mercy. This was erosion. This was quiet. This was slow and unbearably thirsty, like standing in rain that never quite wets your skin, but still leaves you cold all the same, and the ache of shivering creeps in. They don't have skin anymore. They have hides, soft souls told to toughen up if they want to survive, to let them go and stay on their own sides. And maybe that's what I need to grow in place of what I used to feel, mounting layers of survival that numb what I once believed could be real. But do you understand what that costs? Do you understand the violence of becoming something that does not bruise, not because it's strong, but because it's not something anyone would ever choose? No, I assure you, I didn't want this. I didn't want to become the kind of person who doesn't ache when your name is said, who doesn't replay your voice like a prayer in my head. I didn't want to lose you like this, not in fire, not in fury, not in some dramatic abyss, but in this quiet, this hollow, this numb, colorless theft where love doesn't die, it just slowly forgets. And now I'm here, or what they call here, this promised place, this calm they swore would appear, and I'm standing in it, and it feels like nothing. No triumph, no release, no sense of becoming, just an absence, a void where the silence stretches thin into something resembling peace, just the stalemate of a war that didn't really end, it just ran out of things to cease. So don't tell me this is healing. Don't tell me I've grown. Don't tell me this empty, unmoving quiet is something I've earned, something I can own, because I would have rather burned. I would have rather shattered, screamed, broken apart at the seams, than stand here intact, untouched, unseen, with no trace left of what we used to be. They keep giving directions to a place that appears on no map, and now I understand. It was never somewhere you go. It's what's left when there's nothing left to go back. Dun dun dun.
She's not even here. But she's got family stuff though, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Artemis has some family stuff, and uh, as holy shit.
Hmm. What?
Well, I just realized that technically the family shit that Artemis is dealing with is technically my distant family shit too.
Yeah, but you don't know them.
No, I don't know them, but still, I mean,
Yeah.
as the family historian and the fact that, Zia's grandmother is in my family tree, because I expand it out to all known relatives. No, yes, absolutely sticks. Artemis has been going through some shit. Obvi, we're always there for her, etc. She wrote that one, at the end of January, and I still to this day feel very, very honored that she trusted me with those words, and the fact that she's continuing to take these things, these emotions, these however fictionalized they become, but they're feelings that she's feeling and having in her heart and her mind, and she's trusting me to put them out there and to be her voice in this time. We check in on her every couple of days. Jamie Campbell Bower, who is an actor that we both like very much, recently dropped a new single, and I sent her a couple of videos so that when she comes back to the interwebs, it's a really good song. If it's so powerful and uplifting and coming from a place of pain. So, God. Okay, so I haven't just been listening to Stray Kids. I've also been listening to this one song by Jamie Campbell Bower. But whatever, it's fine.
I'm sure the Stray Kids will forgive you.
Oh, they will totally forgive me. Because they don't know me, and that's fine. That's the way it needs to stay. But yeah, but wow. Anybody else want to try their hand at poetry? Throw it at me. Throw it at me. Wow. Some powerful fucking shit.
She's a powerful writer.
Yes. Artemis is a very, very powerful writer. Sometimes I get lost in the sauce when I'm trying to read some of her sentences. But again, Faulkner is one of her fucking idols, and he's what got the second or third longest grammatically correct sentence on the face of the planet Earth. Um, there are so many Man from Nantucket jokes. I'm not even gonna try and figure out. All right, Sticks, spin the wheel. Trisha!
Ooh, the best for last.
No, not
No,
no.
Trisha is the best.
Trisha's. Ooh, does it satisfies an itch?
Yeah, it does.
Trisha's always satisfies an itch, whether it is cute, whether it's loving, whether it's a cannibalistic grandpa. It satisfies an itch.
She is so versatile.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Ready. I was doing some housework while my kids worked on their studies. When I heard a scream, I flew to the door and threw it open. I watched as a large cat-like creature ran from behind my neighbor's house. My blood turned to ice as rage filled my veins at what I saw. My magic shimmered around me so bright any fluffing creature could see it. I flew from the tree stump I use as my house to Mrs. Thomas's house to have her call for help. But as I got there, she stepped out the door already on the phone. Since she was already getting help, I flew over to see if I could help. When I got to where the creature ran from, I saw a woman lying on the ground covered in blood, with some of the neighbors trying to stop the bleeding while others on their phones. I hovered near one of the rose bushes, watching everything. If she was alone, I could sprinkle some of my pixie dust in the rips in her skin. I could slow the bleeding, I thought as I tried to get closer. Soon the paramedics were there. They got her on a backboard, then moved the woman to the stretcher. They took her to the ambulance. The police that had arrived after the paramedics looked for evidence. Once everyone was gone, I went over to investigate where the woman was laying. I didn't find anything I thought was important. I flew back home. I found my kids huddled around the door. Is everything okay, Mama? My oldest asked. I don't know, baby. Someone was badly hurt. They are on their way to the hospital, I answered. All my kids started crying. I did my best to comfort them. As soon as I got them settled, I made them something to eat. They were quiet for the rest of the night. They went to bed without arguing. I went and sat on top of the stump. I was watching for the creature, hoping it won't come back. Mrs. Thomas came out and stood by the stump. Ms. Smith is stable, but they are worried that she was attacked by a were-jaguar. Great. The one who did is risking their skin attacking a human. Mrs. Thomas chuckled. They don't have skin. They have hide, and you are right. They are not going to survive because of the attack. I nodded. I hope she makes it and didn't contract feline thropy. The chances of her not getting it after that attack is very low, she said. Again, I nodded. We said goodnight to each other and went into our homes. I checked on my kids before crawling into my own bed. It took me a while to fall asleep. When I finally did, I didn't dream. Dun dun dun. Oh my gosh, that was that I don't okay, I'm a little confused about the flying. And oh yeah, pixie dust. Okay. That was. But this pixie was witness to the attack. That starts this whole series.
Which one is that?
The Anne Smith series.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't read that. Oh, yeah, she and her kids are pixies. If I freaking I just jump in so I don't have spoilers. Sorry, my bad. Sammy. So the pixie's name, the I in the story is Sammy. So kind of a work in progress that is related to this, but from Sammy's point of view, and she just watched this main character. So kind of a prequel, but companion at the same time. Very nice, Trisha. Looking forward to it.
Okay. To address sticks, how is philanthropy?
Because lycan is the Latin prefix for the order
Wolf.
for like dogs and wolves, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
lycanthropy.
lycanthropy is specifically for that, and
That's
philanthropy.
That's pretty correct.
Yeah. Now. Yeah, thropy.
Oh, has a less scientific. I misread that. I thought you were criticizing, and I'm like, no, wait a minute. Yeah, never mind.
Right. There is a well-known traditional author who has a 30-book series that has were-jaguars, were-rats, werewolves, vampires, the whole 9 yards. I'm not saying their name because I am highly disappointed in them for what they said about indie authors. Which is why I haven't finished the last 3 books in the series. I was dedicated. They came up with the word therianthropy for the whole of it. So, and I thought that was interesting in that because you've got lycanthropy, you've got, what Trisha's got, the cat like, right? But to also come up with a word that covers all the shifters. I was like, come up with terminology because, how many times have I told you, Julie? But why? But why? Explain that. Give it a word. Give it a name.
And then when I try to, it's like, well, why is this relevant? Because it fucking is. If I say it's relevant, it's relevant.
It matters when it matters when it matters. And on top of that, everybody's got to come up with their own shit for their own world. I mean, you can go based off of known stuff, right? But if you're working in a known lore and turning it on its head, and you need a word for something that is not yet defined,
right. Well, see,
now you gotta define it.
A lot of issues with my shit
Mm-hmm.
because in my world we have both lichens and were creatures. It's not just werewolves. I have were creatures, even though the other creatures have not been fully brought into the light yet. I mean, in book 2 we have 2 werebears and a fucking
There's a reason that there is a notebook, a 6-ring notebook in A5 size, specifically to make sure that Julie's lore winds up being recorded in some way, shape, or form so that I can remind her when she's stepping outside her own lore.
Right. When I'm stepping outside the box, and it's not stepping outside the box in a good way.
Right?
Like,
And
I
Trisha did say on her website, there is a full list of her terminology and whatnot. And I gotta say, when I ordered the first book and got an old cover, Trisha was not going to accept no for an answer and sent me the new cover and also sent a printed out sheet with that information so that I would have it with the book. So it was like I thought that was a very nice touch, to add that in there as something. So, hey, keep that in mind when you guys are thinking about going to events and things. That might be something too, a little printout that fits in your book, or something that sits out on the table that can be looked at, and some of that explanation, have copies that they can take with them with their website on them. So, just another goodie there.
I've never seen Where Bison before.
Mm.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Where Bison. Like, mind you, Patrick throws a lot of his creatures at me as well when he's in the process of writing stuff. And he has he has the wolves, he has the jaguars. Those are pretty in Shifter, it's pretty common for wolves, jaguars.
Well, here's why, right? Where creatures of various different kinds, lycanthropes, therianthropes, feline thropy, whatever it winds up being, because they're monsters, they're predators. Right? So instantly we think they're monsters, they're predators, they have a bloodlust, etc. So majority of the time, they're carnivores. It's very rare that you have an herbivore animal. And so that's why I like seeing more authors actually starting to go to that, because then it also turns the whole thing on the head. You had a whole discussion in the general chat, recently about creatures and this and that, and I mentioned turning, right? So how does a herbivore animal, do they? Are they dying out because they don't turn
right?
people?
I know
You have to be born.
Involved in. They had rabbits.
Right. No, if they're threatened. But what I'm saying is it's less likely in the world of Shifter. And that's why people don't.
You're either born into it or you're turned into it.
Yes, they will, but that's not their go-to. It's more likely, okay, a cat in the wild is gonna go after other animals, right? Birds, possums, raccoons, if they have a death wish. It's just that it's a daily thing for a carnivore to attack another living thing. It is not a daily thing for an herbivore to attack.
No,
if
they're considered prey animals, so therefore they run, they hide. They
run, they hide. They will, if there's not their own food, they will resort to whatever they have to, survival instinct. So I like that more authors like Trisha are doing more of the omnivores, the herbivores, and looking at how that works, and sometimes they don't have a turning process. You're born, you can't turn. That's not
Right.
a thing. And other ones like
And
you can
I
only be
mean
turned.
that's the funny thing about the TD Edwards series. Um, she has two rabbits. And here's the thing, nobody knows how old they are
Mm.
because they've been heavily protected and they've been around for so long that they'll go up there and guess, but for the most part, it's like they're wrong.
Yep.
And it's
Wear hairs.
literally like, yeah, wear hairs.
Well, we're also starting to see that a lot of what
Still looking for the werewolf.
we've considered
You
traditional
just have to look
heroes
for the red and white
are
stripes. Okay, that's
actually
how everybody finds Waldo.
like intentionally going after smaller animals and supplementing their herbivore diet with like
Oh yeah.
animals.
Oh yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
mean, there's something in there for anyone who wants to use it.
Absolutely. But there's the zeitgeist and then there's the actual legitimate. And then of course we've got Sticks over here saying that he's still looking for the elusive where Waldo.
Yeah,
For
you just gotta look for the red
reference,
and white, man.
Waldo was my great grandfather. So we found him. He's in a grave.
Did he wear glasses too?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Hold on. Spawn.
Well, while you're dealing with Spawn, yeah, go ahead and give it the last turny turn. And hold on a second. Where's our Dahlia? We have one that's strictly Dahlia, but I don't know where it is. There it is. Dahlia, our French toast queen herself. It's been a hot minute since we've had one from Dahlia because, again, life be lifing. So we're just glad that she has come back. Yes, the cotton candy colt. The French toast, cotton candy. If you go back to the earlier stuff, I think on YouTube, you'll see the progression of the psychotic nature of Dahlia's characters. Because we have one story that comes to mind about a cell phone that does not work other than when whoever is trying to get this person out. Yeah. He's like, we don't talk about that one. That one always sticks in my brain for Dahlia. Also, the other one is the car that can't come off the road and just keeps making circles past this house.
No,
Or is that the same story?
the hands were the hands coming out of the pushing on the from the inside the belly and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and yeah, it kept going around and then they turned around. Same story. Same
Okay.
same
That's the one with the alien, right?
some kind of alien something or other. Sorry, I had to deal with the fact that if he didn't ask and mention it right away, he would completely forget about it. But going to the gay bar here in the next couple of weeks, so had to plan out the who's it, the what's it, the how's it's.
Yep, yep. So our last one for the evening, Miss Dahlia
Miss
Mack.
Dahlia with with our lovely French toast in the chat. Yes.
I was like, I thought we had
Okay.
Is Dahlia there?
Hydrate. Everybody, hydrate. It'll be fine. Sticks. We'll import it and export it later.
There's plenty.
Don't need to.
We're not running simultaneously right now.
How are we not running simultaneously right now? Restream should be doing that.
According to what our apologies to anyone who's watching over on YouTube.
Oh, maybe because
Let me double check because I don't think that's why I closed everything out.
Well, that's fine. We will figure it out.
We get
No
it.
big deal.
It's still funny.
It is. We good. Okay.
Here we go.
Cotton candy cold, French toast flavored. Protein shakes. And that weird Blade Runner one. I still want to know what was happening with that. Okay. It's the end of the world. And Walker's is how it has to end. Of all the ways it could have ended, a peaceful option where it ended in a split second that life would never know what hit them. I always wished I would die before the end of the world. There's nothing I can do now. I feel the infection running through my body. It's rewiring my brain to obey the virus's control. My soul is trapped between life and death, much like watching the world pass me by as the virus takes control of my actions. I wonder how many other walkers feel trapped in a cage. Are there any who died before the virus took over and whose souls were able to escape? Sleeping, my body waited for the smell of uninfected flesh to make its way towards me. The virus created a temporary hibernation similar to someone frozen in cryosleep, slowing the process of decay until my body would fade and finally die. Yet how long could that take before death can finally be given to me? I suppose the snow in the Arctic Circle will freeze the walkers. Though, will that freezing be like hibernation as well? Or a death to the virus, freeing me from this prison? I wonder if this virus came from space, or was man-made. It could have been frozen deep in the ice, far before humans existed. That, or was man-made so long ago they saved humanity by freezing it far down in the ice. Oh my, so many unanswered questions. The possibilities are endless. What if it were man-made and from space, from another planet where it was shot into space to save their planet from experiencing that disease? The stories told could be from worlds that survived and others that didn't. We tell our stories to remember and connect back to the past lives we experienced in different worlds and write about them in order to try to create different experiences for future souls to enter and hopefully do something different. As I lost track of time, I continued thinking, keeping my mind busy. It was the only way to minimize the loneliness and keep hellish experiences at bay. This virus were more complex and had some standards, not so basic in what it considers living. That or the virus took away my ability to smell. I smell the rotting death everywhere. Why must I suffer in such a way? Though it makes sense in order to survive, You really do need a few different ways to find food. Hearing and smelling your food is probably a must for this virus. Couldn't I have gone through any other apocalyptic event in all of the worlds? Trapped with an alien virus that is way smarter and becomes like me, you would never know who was the real me or who was infected. I think I would have felt better knowing I am okay with still being alive and watching from afar, like watching a movie of myself. Some kind of normalcy that would be easier to cope with. This life, though, I really want someone to put a bullet in me. Then I can be reborn into a world that is nowhere near any kind of apocalyptic event. Live and die in a world with all kinds of peace. Is that too much to ask for? The sound of a car alarm wakes me from my hibernation. My body slowly awakens and I feel it move towards the sound. Maybe today will be my lucky day. A bullet with my name on it. Please be the day. I started to herd towards the others, smelling and using our senses in order to recognize we aren't food to each other. Not yet, at least. But once the hunger takes over, we become feral. We can smell those that are about to go feral soon. I try to get away from them as much as I can, yet speed is not on my side. We walkers can only pick up speed so much. It might seem weird to hear, but death from a feral zombie sounds painful. A bullet will be more peaceful. Oh my God. Us being able to run, though, now that would be so much scarier. I guess I am lucky I was turned early and don't have to run around waiting for my time to go. Wonder how much time I would have lasted before I decided to kill myself or another living human killed me. Though this virus doesn't realize that once all of humanity is dead, it's going to fade to nothingness. Unless it can jump to other life forms. Oh, but now that I think about it more, any creatures in the snow would find a way to survive. Maybe it would be frozen for thousands of years. But when the next advanced life form takes over this world, when the land shifts and the world heats up, they will find this virus and expose themselves as well. Unless they are smarter than even us and can save themselves. Ah, I see the group of humans. They are running. Not that much supplies on them. Hopefully they can outrun us. I hate hearing their screams while I eat them alive.
Ooh.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen, our horror queen, just, wonderful, beautiful prose, and then suddenly, I hate hearing their screams while I'm eating them alive. Are the other walkers groaning towards each other so we can try to communicate? Maybe I should try to talk to them too. I normally keep quiet to keep myself safe for some reason. But honestly, when I think of it, I have yet to see other walkers being so quiet. Can you understand me? I whispered. The others turned to me, smelling and checking me out. Started looking at me like food, I swear. But I continued walking towards the people running. The virus is on a mission to eat and turn the next victim. The grumbling from the others picked up around me before quieting down. Can anyone whisper back? No one replied back in full words, only groans. Though this time the creatures kept walking, not bothering with questioning my likeness to them. It must be a mutated or faulty virus in me, maybe. To have control over my words, even if my decaying body is still prevalent and my vocals can at least whisper the words? One of the humans whacked another's leg, causing the person to fall. The person crawled, trying to still escape, even if slower than before. Being left behind, it was obvious this was a group of survivors who would do anything to survive, even if that meant sacrificing others so they could live another day. Never mind the escaping part. They are all goners sooner or later. Follow them, I whispered. The group of walkers ahead of me, person crawling. Their screams pierced the air as they ripped the flesh and organs from the person for as long as they could until the virus took control. After I was past them, I heard their body twist and snap as they began to follow behind. Hearing a banging from the top, I looked up back to see another group of people making noise. Over here, Walker! Come on, biters! The people on the roofs yelled. How interesting. The virus almost changed its target, but realized what the people were doing, deciding to continue for the runners on the streets. Feel the virus evolving and becoming more conscious. I wonder how many others infected are also feeling the virus itself evolve. Are we all going to evolve over time? Or is it just a select few? Maybe I was wrong about what I said earlier about the virus dying out after all the humans are wiped out. This could be an apocalypse where the virus is on a mission to use our bodies as hosts and will evolve to be like us once those who remember the old world are gone. If that's the case, then I am totally considering this an alien life form from space. As the others still on the street ran into a worn down building, I watched them block the door through the windows, using whatever was around them. Before they could get to the windows, I watched a walker pick up a rock and throw it. Shattering the glass, everyone ran as walkers floated inside. Making it to the worn down building, my body waited outside as the other walkers attacked the group. One by one, they were turned. I watched them walk out mindlessly, glancing at me before going their separate ways. When the building was finally cleared of most of the walkers, I entered, grabbing a knife that one of the people dropped. Looking at it as my hand moved the blade around as if examining it. The virus then turned me around, walking out of the building with a blade in hand. It's definitely evolving. This is the first time I have ever seen us creatures pick up objects. I'm not the only one either. That other walker, where did it go? Maybe it can understand me and we can communicate. Searching for it while I wander around, and with a glimpse, I noticed the same walker that threw the rock. But as much as I tried to will my body towards the other one, this virus, on the other hand, has the mind of its own, deciding to move away from the others despite what I really wanted to do. Heading back towards the people on the roof, I could hear the people talking as they watched from above, staring at them for hours as the days soon turned to night. For the longest time, they didn't notice me watching until a little boy pointed at me. That one is holding a knife, Dad? The little boy said. Creepy son of a bitch, an old man replied, aiming his gun toward me. Watch your language around my son, the father snapped. Maybe I will be lucky today, and that old man will give me that bullet, I whispered. Damn. I can't read lips, yet I am pretty sure I just saw that walker move its lips like it was speaking to us, the old man with the sniper said. As more people huddled together on the roofs, I watched them communicate with each other over walkies from different roofs. With the crowd growing larger, I only wished one of them would put a bullet in my head any minute. Turning in a circle to watch them all, the alien infecting me decided to raise the blade and wave it around. In the next second, I stabbed myself in the brain, once, then twice, and finally a third time. Leaving the blade inside my head, I turned to see the expression on all their faces. Never seen a walker do that before, the old man with the sniper said. Shoot it, the woman said through the walkie. With that, I watched the bullet come towards me, and in a split second, it pierced the center of my skull. I thought I would be dead, and in the afterlife. Yet, I am still here, feeling my body hit the cement, the cool feeling on my exposed flesh. Getting up, I watched everyone with their jaws to the floor. Feeling the spread of a smile, a single tear slipped down my face. There will be no dead, not even for me. At that moment, I knew I would be in a state of limbo, unable to control my body and cursed to be a roamer for this alien. Not even the survivors can put me out of my misery. Roaming away from the survivors, I made my way towards a tech store. Entering the store through the broken windows, I watched as the thing in control of me picked up a basket off the ground and walked over to the recording devices, speakers, and walkie-talkies, placing them inside the basket. Bumping into another walker, it groaned at me as it continued wandering around the store. One after another, I bumped into them while I made my way to the back of the store. Opening the door, Walker stood more alert than the others, even taking a step back so I could walk through. The silence between us caused my body to fill with goosebumps. Although I was confused on why, of all times, I would feel this unease, I tried to pay no mind to it since death was not possible. Plausible. Next thing I knew, it was standing behind me, watching me as I entered the back. Boxes were fallen in messy stacks and blood splattered all over them. I watched myself place my hand in a bucket of blood, then write something on the wall. Taking a few steps back, I looked around to see some old unknown writing. Zombie, zabi, and now zombie was written in fresh blood. What is this? I whispered. This is the name of the virus, the walker behind me whispered. How do you know this? I asked. Why else would we write unknown words without willing ourselves to do so? It has to be the way it talks to us, they replied. The text is not anywhere close to the writing of old or new languages. It's something beyond our world when I think of it. Welcome to the new world. Forever trapped in this body to be alive and dead all at once, it said, turning around and leaving. After that, I began to envy those infected with the lesser strain of this virus. The ability to get shot in the head and die was something that I began to grow hated for. How dare they have a way to escape? Leaving me trapped in this cage is not a life I want to live. Yet if there is no escape, this must be hell. We must have died long ago and been reincarnated to live for an eternity in this hell dimension. We are zombies, evolving and devolving as the rest begin, shaping the world for a new kind of hell. Humanity is the zombies, and we are all infected. This thing is smarter than I thought. It must have been dormant for so long that it only comes out when we repeat the right conditions for it to wake up. I think I am too late. I realize this thing is far smarter than any life we have ever discovered. Too much time has passed, and humans would be considered an endangered life form if anyone were keeping records of their stories. Herding a group of zombies towards the runners, I lead them into the trap that has caught many. Don't let them escape. Kill them. Eat them all, I whispered. Anger filled me as I wished harm on the world, wishing for eternal suffering for all. Dun, dun. Dun, dun. Exactly 2,500 words.
Again.
No, not nice sticks. Not nice sticks. I'm not sleeping tonight now. I'm going to have to drug myself up with melatonin or something because I'm not going to sleep now. She does this to me every single time she submits because even if it's a nice, sweet story, my brain is just going through for hours wondering when the other shoe is going to drop. And then, I don't know if y'all know this, but Dahlia has this cute, sweet pixie voice where it's like she sounds like she's this cute little munchkin that you just want to protect and pinch her little cute cheeks, and then she comes up with shit like that. It's diabolical.
It almost borders on sadistic.
Wow, my best friend of
in the damn chat. With all the
friendship
and the lovey faces.
We couldn't be more opposite.
Our friendship does not make sense. It really does not. I don't. She's all here for this. I'm horrified by it. We're not into the same music. We're barely into the same entertainment. Yay, fast friends forever. There's no separating. This should not work, but it does. I don't know. It's okay. Sorry, I'm just going to be dreaming about zombies and actually being a zombie, and that puts a whole different definition to eating out.
Or being eaten out.
That was that was yeah.
Oh my god.
Great timing, I know, Julie.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was just leaving it the shortened. Our brains, yeah. This friendship makes sense. This one I love, but it doesn't make sense.
Well, see, here's the thing. If it was me and Kesh make sense. Me and you make sense. But
Yeah.
you knew Kesh before you knew me, and you knew me before Kesh knew me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
weird ass little fucking trifecta.
it is a weird fucking trifecta that works, and we have all of you in the audience that love our shenanigans and put up with us. We love you. Just
I'm glad y'all love us. Show up every week.
Although, I think the emotional support Viking may try to get out of being licked if I keep calling him the emotional support Viking.
Well, technically, he was licked before before you gave him the nickname of the emotional support Viking. So I don't know if that invalidates said.
Okay, chat. Stream's over. Uh-huh. I just work here. Oh,
All right. Well, you got everything pulled up so I can do the rolls.
shit balls.
Because right now I got the generator running its little thing, but until you're telling me you're ready, I can't hit.
Hey. You know what I did the one time?
Huh? Probably what I did the one time that you weren't here.
Well, I did the random numbers from 1 to the end of the list and not just 1 to 100. The only reason we were doing 1 to 100 was because of the dice that you still have to find where your cats.
I still got to clean under my desk.
Yep. That's all right. Her cat decided it needed to go into a moderator video chat earlier this afternoon, and so I'm just hanging out waiting to see if there's going to be explosions or yelling or screaming or if I have to provide an alibi. And I'm just talking and I'm singing, and suddenly she's like, "What the hair?" and comes in and puts the camera on. I go, "Yeah, honey, you've been hanging out in this video chat for 37 minutes."
Stormy's the one that went into the chat. And here's the funny thing. I always go, anytime you guys see me, I'm on my phone. So it doesn't matter if we're here doing Twitch or we're in Discord. I'm on my phone. The cat activated it from my computer.
Which she
Yes,
never does.
Victor also messaged me and was like, "Hey, is everything okay? Do I need to come down there?" And I'm like, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yip, yip, yip. Yip, yip, yip. It's all good. Okay, so we've got 141 concepts.
Well, the reason I do it 1 to 100 is that way I can roll all three at the same time. Okay, I'll roll them all individually. So we have 140.
141.
141.
143.
I can't do it like that. I have to like 100.
I know. I don't know. I thought you might have a note thing so that I don't have to go back and forth.
Okay, hold on a second. 141. What's the next one?
141, 145, 143.
Okay. Apparently, you can add the other ones. Okay. Here we go. Let's
Shitballs.
go.
Shitballs. Discord being stupid. Not actually being stupid. Discord on my computer combo being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get to the channel. Channel. I don't know. I don't think any. No. Bitzer handled the Kesh birthday challenge for Izzy. Very well. Mr. Trant. Very sweet. Very heartwarming.
Okay. We ready?
There we go. Okay, concept.
126.
Explore the idea of a character who gains wisdom by talking to ancient trees.
That could be an interesting.
Patrick's already written that book.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, Patrick's already writing that book. It's not even like, okay.
All right, starting first line.
I love that. So it's like a guy who reads a book. I
mean,
not wrong.
Not wrong. Books are dead trees.
Yeah. Tattooed dead trees at that.
Yes.
Starting first line, 111. Oh God. I know that look. What?
They told me not to go in, but the door was already halfway open.
Negative Ghost Rider. Abort fucking mission. Fuck no. Right off. No. Abort mission. Turn your ass about face forward. March your ass the other direction.
it could also be a ruse.
But the door's halfway open. I got to see what's on the other side.
No, you don't. You know what? I have been reading this book over on We Here because I like to not have to really think too much when I'm reading like the trashier version of novels. And in that process, the main character in the book that I am listening to heard noises coming from a teacher's lounge. And that's when she found out that her best friend, well, her boyfriend was balls deep in her best friend at their junior Christmas dance.
We're gonna have to edit
While
that
they were
out.
both talking shit about the main character. So no, I don't care if you hear sound. No, you didn't. Is that door ajar? No, it isn't.
But
And
there's
that's
good
been the
ways
whole
it could go too.
fucking book is they keep repeating it.
Here's the thing. The kind of line that it's like, oh dear God, what are Trisha going to do with this? Oh dear God, what the fuck is Kesh and her dragon shifters going to do with this? Sure. It could be, they told me not to go in, but the door was already halfway open, and maybe it's a surprise birthday party on the other side. You never know. But, this is our group. You really
you
think?
needed to Dahlia go in? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for us, not for you, but I'm sorry. Okay. Dialogue 87.
Ellie, thank God it's not 187.
5309.
No, 187.
JG, what was? Oh God, you in the faces tonight. I don't want to know. I mean, I need to know, but I don't want to know. Whose is it?
2 and 3 play right under each other.
Use this dialogue. There's a story everyone believes. The truth, it's messier than you'd imagine.
Why does it feel like more like it's starting first line than dialogue?
Ooh!
Well, a lot of people
Fucking
use
time machine.
the dialogue for starting first line.
A lot of people use the dialogue for starting first line, but they put it in quotations. And then a lot of people will also put one of the starting first lines as dialogue in there, especially when the starting first line is first person. There are quite a few of these that somehow, like, when we were searching for prompts that would be like a starting first line, for some reason, everything we found was all first person. So feel free to change things, as our regulars know, for those who are watching this after the fact. Change names, change genders, change pronouns, change professions, change the verb tense. It's only intended to be a spark. Get this little earworm inside your head and make you think of something and put words on the page. Yes, I went there. I'm sorry. The virus taking over, earworm eating the brains. I'm sorry. I am going to live like this all night long.
Vote.
There's pineapple on my burger. Okay, I needed a palate cleanser. All right, let's vote. Who's got the voting up? I haven't done anything. Ooh,
Sticks already got the poll up, so.
Oh, okay. There it is. It's black on black. All right. What do we got? Oof. All right, everybody.
So far, we've got 6 votes and 11 people in here.
I voted already.
What do you mean you can't vote on mobile? Kesh does it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Who said you can't vote on mobile?
Sticks.
Oh.
There should be a little drop down, like at the top.
Yeah.
Don't vote on the Hold My Pen Promptcast unless you're wanting to vote on the Hold My Pen Promptcast one, and don't vote on the Sticks one. It doesn't keep track of who voted. It's fine. See, Trisha voted on mobile too. I'm sorry, but I'm calling hogwash.
Oh shit. We gotta fight. Now we got 9 votes in with 11. I still gotta vote. I was hoping to get out of having to vote. I know. I'm playing Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. Like, which one's gonna fuck me over worse? Or which one's gonna fuck me over least?
I don't give two shits. Vote for the one that you would want to write for. Quit going with popular opinion. Your trauma's showing with the people pleasing.
Well, no, I'm trying to figure out which story I'm going to be working on this week. That's why I'm
Okay, fair enough.
That's why I'm like, oh shit, which one do I pick? Because quite literally, that would depend on which story I'm going to be fucking with this week.
In my view, that makes sense.
He was in mod view.
Yeah, is he mad?
Yeah,
because he's doing his job like a good emotional support Viking.
Izzy, you're going to get us cut before we get the voting done.
Look, I like to push buttons. Okay, don't ever give me a big red button and tell me not to push it.
God, does she ever?
And Six is
Oh my god, he just muted you. Opening first line. Lord have mercy. Get it. Yeah, you gotta unmute her. She's muted on the back end too.
So when I have to mute you guys and then I unmute you, you then have to unmute yourself. It's a double blind kind of thing. But yeah, I got muted. Look, I know y'all don't know my little brother, like my actual little brother that I was raised with, and you never will. Okay, you never will. This is par for the course for the way I treat little siblings. You're only the older sibling for 5 months. 5 months out of the year. That's it.
Yeah, then you guys are the same age.
Yeah, because then we're the same age. See?
I'm still older. Because I turned 47 first.
Winner, yes, opening.
They told me not to go in, but the door was already halfway open. So let me go put a little asterisk in front of that one. And don't forget Kesha's challenge for Izzy's birthday, which will actually be next week, Friday the 27th. Let's hopefully make it a better one than Friday the 13th. Hashtag make Izzy happy.
I don't know, with the way these damn challenges are going, it's going to be a little hard to make you happy. I mean, these rolls are not
that hard. Feed her.
Yeah, I'm a stray cat. All you got to do is feed me.
What I'm hearing is we need to take up a collection and send you pizza.
Yes.
We're all a little pizzaed out. We probably get pizza or like once, twice a week. Anyway, that is the thing. Tomorrow night we do not have a show. Special thanks to Styx for putting up with the good-natured ribbing and, flying by the seat of his pants. It is an old overlay. Did he disable me again? No, that's just still up there for. I didn't erase it. It's an old overlay, but I did threw this together in a very quick way, managed to pull all of this together in a very short time. He is the best. Round of applause for Sticks for being all jokes aside. You guys as a team and Sticks jumping in and supporting us like this because he apparently likes our level of weird. It just works. So I gotta tease him back. But let's run away because it is now midnight Sticks and I's time.
Right. Okay. So don't add to the population, don't subtract from the population. If you get your ass fucking arrested, guess what? We use the bail money on the show. So toodles. You'll fucking sit. We will discuss about putting money on your commissary. Also, have a great week, guys. Try to do the best you can. Weather is starting to warm up. Get outside, touch some fucking grass, and we will go about our day. As for everything else, we will see you again here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Otherwise, be brave, be bold, but always stay humble. See you again next week.
I don't control